Welcome back everybody, Dan here for Sim Racing Source. Thanks so much for joining in for today's video. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm actually doing a little research on my PC here, looking up some specs for the new generation consoles. And while this is not directly correlated with sim racing, it is, it could affect us in some way, what I'm going to be talking about today down the road. So the reason why I'm looking this up is because I am part of several Facebook groups, and one of them is just like a general gaming Facebook group. And I saw a post up there where people were talking about how these next generation consoles were going to be so powerful and they were going to be fairly inexpensive that it was going to make a significant impact on how many people are gaming on PCs. Now, most of us, not all of us, most of us in the sim racing genre are gaming on a PC. We run our sims on the PC. And I would say at least 50% of people who are currently racing on consoles are hoping to make the move over to PC gaming at some point in time because it's just more powerful, there's more flexibility. And so seeing that this post on this Facebook group, and a lot of people were agreeing with it, and there was a lot of good evidence or anecdotal information that kind of would say that this is the truth, that a lot of people who are currently PC gaming would move back over to consoles. It just kind of interested me a little bit. It intrigued me, so I wanted to take a look at it. And there are a lot of specs that have been officially released. I'm getting this information from GameSpot now. And they're actually much more powerful than I thought they were going to be. And this is apparently official released information. So it looks like they're both using Ryzen Ryzen CPUs. And that may be old information. It might be new information. But it looks like 8-core CPUs. I mean, so these are powerful CPUs, decent speeds. And it looks like they're using both going to be using AMD GPUs. So I'm an NVIDIA guy when it comes to GPUs, but AMD does have a few decent options, and they should only get better. But the two things that actually really surprised me, actually there's three things. One thing that surprised me is that they're both coming with optical drives. So in other words, a DVD drive, which is really surprising to me because, everything is streamed now. Everything is downloaded digitally. I don't understand why they're including optical drives, but I don't have an answer for that. But the main two things that really surprised me is that it's going to have a max resolution on both sides with 8K, which is ridiculous. This takes a lot of power to run 8K resolution, and it says they're both going to run at a max frame rate of 120 frames per second. Now, even on the current consoles, the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, not all games run at 60 frames per second, even on the best. So, they're doubling it with these new consoles when a lot of games, even on the best thing we have available now, still only runs about 30 frames per second. So that's a big thing there, the 8K and the 120 frames per second. When I saw those numbers, I kind of said to myself, well, do these people that are saying this stuff, do they actually have something valid they're saying here? Because if you can get the ease of use from a console and 120 frames per second and 8K resolution, that's a pretty good argument to get away from sometimes very aggravating usage with a PC or whatever kind of computer you use. But after looking at all this stuff and kind of checking it out, I am excited about the new generation consoles. I probably will pick one up, probably the Xbox, just because that's what I've always used, unless PlayStation has a new Gran Turismo, like a story mode Gran Turismo, and if they do that, then I'm definitely going to get a PlayStation. But if not, I'll get the Xbox. But I'm not going to get that to do PC gaming. So here's where I think those guys and girls in that Facebook group are kind of wrong, or what the point that they're missing here. So the number one thing about consoles, even if the next gen console offered equivalent power to a GTX 2080 Ti, i7 7700 or 9900K, whatever fancy GPU and CPU you can get today, even if it offered that same performance, the issue is the boundaries and the limitations of not the box, but the creators of the box. So developers, when they create games on a console, go through a lot harder stipulations and rules and regulations that they have to adhere by when producing a game. The testing process is much harder, it's much longer. So often they have to leave things out or completely change a game or, just make a lot of sacrifices to be on the console. Whereas on a PC, it's open. I mean, a developer is free to make whatever they want to make as far as they want for a game, whether it's good, bad, ugly, beautiful, it doesn't matter. There's nobody saying whether they can or cannot release that product. That's one thing. So there's not the limitations you're going to get on a box, such as a PlayStation and an Xbox. The next big thing is adaptability and connectability. So yes, each time we get a new console, you're able to plug more things into it and more things are compatible with those boxes. However, there still is always a huge licensing problem. So just because you have a USB port to plug something into your Xbox or to plug something into your PlayStation doesn't mean that it's going to work. Whereas on a PC, everything's compatible. You just download a driver, plug in what you want. I'm talking wheels, pedals, mouses, headphones, everything. You can use whatever you want. There's no limitation on what you can make work with a PC, even something that won't work right away. With a little ingenuity and working some magic, you can get it to work where certain things on consoles will not work. Now, that is a big problem for those of us who do flight sims, sim racing, trucking sims, all kind of simulations like that, because we have to be able to plug in a lot of different items all at one time. They have to be able to work flawlessly. We have to be able to download drivers, update things. And when it comes to consoles, it's just very limited on how you can do that. Another big thing and a big part of sim racing in specifically is modding, changing and manipulating files within a game structure. That is a huge no-no from Microsoft, Xbox, and PlayStation. They do not want you doing that. Yes, do people do it? Sure. People figure out how to get in there, but they do not make it easy because they do not want you messing with that stuff. And that right there is a huge reason. So I think that there's a ton of reasons why the next generation consoles are going to be amazing. Believe me, I think they're going to be awesome, especially with the recent news that they're actually not going to be as expensive. People were thinking they were going to be $600 to $800, and now they're saying they're going to be $500. So you're getting more than double the performance of the previous console for just barely over what you paid. I think Xbox One, when it was brand new, was what, $400, $399, and they're talking about $499 for the new PlayStation and the new Xbox, roughly. So it's $100 difference, and you're getting a lot more performance. So I know that those boxes are going to be good, but do I think that they're going to pull PC gamers away from PCs and going back to driving consoles or gaming on consoles? I highly doubt it. It's typically looked at upon, and I hate to say this, but the consoles, no matter what you do, are going to be like the how can I say this without sounding bad? I'm just going to say it. So consoles are built for kids. You know what I mean? I know that sounds terrible, but you just turn them on, play them, they work. You pick the games that are available and you play them how the developer and the console maker wants you to play them. And then you graduate into PC gaming where you can actually manipulate files, change things, do whatever you want. There's no limitations on PCs. But because there's no limitations, there's a lot more responsibility that comes with it. So I hope that makes sense. Like consoles are for people who don't want that responsibility. They just want to play the games. And even if the performance does get similar or the equivalent to what we have available in PCs, not wanting that responsibility and wanting to be able to have no limitations on what equipment I can use and what I can plug in, and if I want to at any time upgrade my GPU to the newest thing or my CPU, that those no boundaries with PC gaming is what keeps people going to that. And I don't think any console, no matter how powerful it may end up being, will have any effect on PC gaming. So I don't necessarily agree with them. I am pretty surprised at some of these specs of these new consoles. That is pretty exciting. But do I think that it'll have an effect on gaming on a PC? I don't. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, so that's kind of what I was looking at. I thought it was neat. I figured I'd just crank up the webcam here and make a video about this. So I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think, maybe not this next generation, but do you think there will eventually be a generation of gaming consoles that affects the player base on PCs and will make them go back to consoles or go over to consoles for the first time? Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching these videos. Click that like button if you did like it. Remember to click the subscribe button. If you're not subscribed, hit the notification bell. We do a lot of sim racing stuff here. I know this is kind of off topic, but typically we do sim racing stuff, reviews, gameplays, etc. You know the drill. Click those buttons so you can get informed when I drop a new video. So as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you hanging out with me for this video, and I will talk to you in the next one.